here as free agents. You've also been able to retain a large number of your players through contract extensions. So do you think we can see some more extensions coming soon?
Well, since you asked, Sarah, we've extended Adam's role as a Winnipeg Jet for at least the next 5 years.
Congratulations, Adam.
I told my agent kind of at the start of this process, I just wanted to say Winnipeg, and he says, well, that's not very good negotiating, so. You might have to pretend a little bit, but I think both sides knew. I've been fortunate to grow up in this organization, be drafted by them, play my whole career for the organization, and to have the chance to finish it here is incredible.
You know what? That was great news. That must have been really cool to be a part of.
It was great news to be able to. I'll tell you all about how it happened in just a little bit. But as we say good afternoon to everyone, welcome you to the latest edition of Check-In as we get you set for tonight's game with the Carolina Hurricanes in town. Welcoming all of you watching us on X, Facebook, YouTube. Don't forget as well, if you can't join us, you can always catch us in the podcast form as well, each and every game day to get you ready for the Jets game that night. We are looking forward to having who join us today.
Mike Maniscalco, the voice of the Carolina Hurricanes. I sent him a text yesterday and I said, you know who we want to talk about. And he got back to me. So he's ready. He gave me a
What'd he say?
I have to, the way when I introduce him, I'll read it.
Okay.
And my daughter has my cell phone right now. So
okay. Because you don't remember. Okay. We have lots to get to in the next 30 minutes. Okay. So we thought this show was going to be perfectly planned out. So
yes.
We're going to talk about the Adam Lowry extension. Then obviously the other big story about this game, specifically the return of Nikolaj Ehlers for the first time against the Jets team.
Lots of storylines.
Yes. And then what happens?
Well, I had a funny clip pack about Logan Stanley's slap shot the other night and how Scheif felt like a baby in his arms when he picked him up the other day. And like that was going to be a big part of the show. And then just before morning skate today, the big news that came out, I'm sure that if you are watching us right now, that you have already heard the news that Connor Hellebuyck is going to undergo surgery tomorrow to deal with a nagging knee issue that's been bothering him. He is going to be sidelined 4 to 6 weeks. This was obviously not the news that we were expecting to hear today. Right. And so you look at the years over his career here in Winnipeg, 5 times Connor Hellebuyck has led the National Hockey League in appearances by a goaltender. His durability is second to none. There's no question about that. So it's almost like not only do you take him for granted because of how good he is, you take for granted how he's going to be able to play 60 plus games. And there was that conversation. Remember how Eric Comey's going to play a little bit more this year because of the Olympics. Now 4 to 6 weeks is a lot. And the schedule's about to get heavy, and there's some pretty prime opponents coming up down the pipeline here. But what I'm noticing from the 2 players we talked to today, I wasn't in with Scott Arniel today, but the commitment and the belief in Eric Comrie by Josh Morrissey and Adam Lowry, and he's proven himself. Now it's all on him.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, this is, if you think about it, this was kind of the opportunity that Comrie had left the Jets organization originally looking for. And obviously this is not, he and Connor are very close. We know that. And this is not the scenario in which you want to have everything put on your shoulders, but certainly he has proven himself ready for it. And so we'll see now as he takes the reins over to it. But as you mentioned, players, obviously that was the hot topic today when we went inside the room and had the chance to speak to some of the Winnipeg Jets players.
Obviously now here without him, you can't replace a guy like that. But we're super confident in Combs and Milic and our defensive game while he's out. But definitely, as you said, we've been fortunate not to have him out of the lineup a whole lot through the year.
We have all the confidence in the world in what Eric can do, what Milic can do. Combs has come in and he's had a stellar start to the year. He had a great year for us last year. He puts in so much time, effort in the gym, on the ice before practice, after practice, working with Flats, talking with Helly, that, I think he's prepared for the increased workload. And, we've got all, like I said, we've got all the confidence in the world that, he's going to come in and give us a chance to win every night.
I mean, not enough is the key part here, and the importance of those comments from the players is just the belief they have in Eric Comrie. But you can tell, like, this is a huge blow. Like, that's the.
Well, I mean, this isn't just any goaltender. You're talking about a 3-time Vezina winner. You're reigning Hart Trophy. I mean, it's impossible to say that this is not going to be a blow and impactful on the Winnipeg Jets stretch while he's out of the lineup. Eric Comrie, though, has won 4 of his 5 starts. He played well last year. Last year, he wasn't getting the run support. This year, he has been.
And those 4 wins, each win, they've scored 5 times. So he's getting, so hopefully that trend continues. But like I said, there are some pretty big opponents coming up down the road and starting tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is when you hope that the Jets, they haven't, their defensive game as a team has not been as tight or buttoned down as what we saw last season.
Tighten it up.
Tighten it up a little bit. Yeah. So you hope that this is the scenario in which they take that next step. They are going to need to. But this is an opportunity for Eric Comrie. And this is also, I think, a Jets team that, first off, the number of injuries to key players that they have had to deal with this season so far in significant lengths of time, we're not talking about 2 or 3 games here, has been credible when you think about how in recent seasons maybe they've made it through with a little bit more health than what we had expected. But this is also a team that has shown in the past that they have been able to rise to the occasion, that when key players have been out of the lineup, whether it be up front, the back end before, that they are still able to get the wins. So that's what they're looking, obviously, to do now.
Yeah, and it all ties into their defensive structure. And Josh Morrissey touched about that in the clip. It's just we believe in our defensive game because they are getting closer to it. And that all ties into having key players back on the roster. And that's the unfortunate part here is that you're just starting to see, they're just starting to get healthy. And of course, this has to happen. But if you go with what Scott O'Neill said earlier in the year, when Sandberg went out, Lowry was out, and Perfetti got hurt, it's just like, it's better it happens now than later in the year. So this is, if it's going to happen, now's the time. Clearly the Olympics are on the horizon as well for Connor Hellebuyck to play for the United States in February. So, and then long term, you're looking in the playoffs. So if this is going to happen, it has to happen now.
And this is something that's been nagging him really since training camp. It's not as if it happened during one game or anything. So he's been dealing with it a lot, trying to manage it. The decision was made that if you're going to deal with it, now is the time to. And lots of confidence in Eric Comrie. I did see someone, well, wouldn't you know? That's
a great question, Missing Monk.
Who is number 2 in net? Well, number 2 would be Thomas Milic, called up from the Manitoba Moose. He played last night, and he, is a name that even if you're not following the Moose really carefully, might be very familiar with, whether it be from his junior days or from World Juniors representing Team Canada. He's from Coquitlam. And you like a lot of what you see in his game.
Right, I do. And one thing, so Drew McIntyre, who's the goalie guru for the Manitoba Moose, also a big part of the scouting team for goaltenders for the National Hockey League draft. I remember talking to Drew about this. Now, Thomas Milic is not the size that most goalies are, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", but his positioning is perfect. He's very athletic, and he never gives up on a puck. So I remember Drew saying to me in Penticton a couple of years ago at the rookie tournament, he says he might give up that goal that if he was 6'2", he would make that save, but it won't happen again. And Thomas Milic has won everywhere he's gone. He won with Seattle. He helped Canada win the gold at the World Juniors. He's won at the Manitoba with the American Hockey League level too. So he's on a great tear right now for them. And he's bringing that up to the National Hockey League. So at every level, Thomas Milic has won. Yeah. So there's a lot to like about this game.
Yeah, he's a battler out there in net. So with 9 games with the Moose this season, he's 5-2-2, 2.14 goals against, a .921 save percentage. And I had the opportunity to catch up with him just a short while ago. Thomas, big news today with the news that Connor Hellebuyck's going to be sidelined creates a real opportunity for you as well. When did you find out that you were going to be getting called up?
Actually, just right after the game last night. We had a big win with the Moose against Chicago, and I got called into the room, and they broke the news, so it was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, what was the reaction? What goes through your mind when you hear that?
Just pure excitement. I mean, they told me to keep it quiet for a little bit, but I couldn't stop myself from smiling. I'm walking around the room just looking like I pulled a prank on somebody, but no, it was pretty cool.
Who was the first person you called or sent a text to?
I all the boys found out pretty quick around the room, but as soon as I got back to my place, I sat down and gave my parents a call. And
very smart. That is.
Yeah. No, it was really cool getting to, see the excitement and how proud they were, and I think that's what makes it all worth it.
For you, how do you look at, I mean, whenever you do have the opportunity, how do you look at this? I mean, you think about in the last couple of years, you've been playing with the Moose, but you've also been down with the ECHL as well, and now you're sitting on the bench tonight, backing up in an NHL game.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is just learning wherever I go. I learned so much in Norfolk when I was down there, and same with the Moose here, and that's my plan for as long as I can hang around with these guys here, is just learn from everybody, see what they all do on a day-to-day basis, and just enjoy it.
We've heard how great the season has been going for you with the Moose in the last particular set of games as well. Your game, how do you describe it for people that aren't familiar with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my game is somebody who gives the team a chance to win every night. I'm an athletic goaltender, but I like to stay calm and composed when I need to be, and be ready to make the big saves when it's time. So.
Well, very excited for you for this opportunity. Thanks so much for the time. Best of luck.
Of course, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. So you talked to Thomas afterwards to continue on with the conversation he had with his parents. So please indulge us.
Well, just asked what Mom's reaction was.
Yeah, because it's always Mom.
Of course it is. I mean, you think about when they show families in the crowd for the first NHL game or World Juniors, you see the parents. I always...
it's the mom.
Dads are very excited, not taking anything away from you dads. Moms, though, I mean, I tear up, and
because that's a great
they're
moment.
not even my kids, and I just, you love to see it because you know everything that's gone into it. So we will see him play at some point. I mean, Eric Comrie will get the start tonight, but he said that when he screen recorded his,
as you should,
his FaceTime with his parents to be able to tell them. And they might not be the two tallest goaltenders in terms of tandem, but they are certainly, I'm going to go out there saying, the two nicest
boys.
Nicest. I'm sure they would love.
Yeah, they love that. Nice men.
You're just so
yeah.
cute.
Get over here.
But it's great. And what an opportunity for both of them. And I love seeing so many of the comments that are in there right now of just saying that, look, they're going to goalies, they're going to be fine. You just need to get through this stretch, but there isn't any reason to panic and look for them to be able to get off to a good start here tonight. This team will need to show up for every game and show they can still win. Heal quickly, Helly. We don't need Comrie to be Hellebuyck. We need Comrie to be Coms. I love that comment.
Yes.
That is such a great one. He's more than capable of fill in. Also love the punctuation that you used throughout this, and speedy recovery. MVP. Absolutely. So great to be able to see, though, Thomas Milic get an opportunity to be able to come in, back up, and we'll see where things go from there and when he gets his first start, which we expect to be on the upcoming road trip that they have next week, because they have 2 straight weeks of games with back-to-back nights. So you've got your backup goaltender is going to get in at some point.
And I think another thing, too, is I saw Drake's talk about this on Overdrive a couple of days ago. The injuries are not just with the Jets. Like, this is
it's across the league. It is incredible how many players are sidelined right now.
Right. And it's there's the short training camp, and there's the condensed schedule. It's going to catch up to everybody. And I think there was a comment made, Chris Johnson said, he was talking to an NHL executive. He said, these guys aren't robots. And there's another thing.
You listened to Overdrive yesterday.
I did. Well, sometimes you put me onto the right direction. Just sometimes. And the also comment was like, they're not robots and they're going to get hurt. And that's the tough part. So as great as the Olympics are, this is kind of the price that you pay sometimes with the way that things are going. They made it through last year with Four Nations face-off. Hopefully they can make it out for the most part for this year.
Yes. Okay. So that is obviously the big news heading into this game against Carolina. But as mentioned off the top, we were going to start this talking about other big news from this week, which is that the Winnipeg Jets have signed their captain, Adam Lowry, to a long-term 5-year extension for him to stay with the Jets. Another great piece of work by Kevin Cheveldayoff to be able to lock up a member of this core long-term.
Yeah, here's another thing too. So I was talking with Jim Toth on CJOB yesterday, and he made this great point. Like, how many teams can have, Connor Hellebuyck's going to be a Hall of Famer. Josh Morrissey's well on his way there. Mark Scheifele, you could argue. I mean, Kyle Connor is around there, but you have all these great players. The fact that the possibility is real that all these players are going to stay with the same team their whole career is a huge benefit. And Adam Lowry's in that category as well. And Adam talked to you. I love how he talked about, I only want to negotiate with one team for the most part, right? And that's not great negotiating. If you're an agent, you're probably, can we try to look somewhere else to drive up the price possibly in a way?
Yeah.
But he's been clear about wanting to be here. And he's always been great about his time in the community, how much he loves being here. And it's all real, right? That's the best part. And he reiterated that today. And I think the best part of it is Josh Morrissey has pretty much been alongside Adam Lowry through their whole career, right? They played against each other in the Western Hockey League. They were on St. John's with each other after being drafted by the Jets. They came up at pretty much the same time. So here's a comment from Josh Morrissey on the captain being around for another five more years after this one.
Yeah, it was unreal. I mean, obviously kind of talk about it a little bit, but behind the scenes, but new things were kind of progressing, and I don't think Lau's told anybody before the gala that things had really kind of progressed, I guess, in the last few days. So just absolutely elated for him. We talked about a little bit after. I mean, going back to my, even prior to Jets days, growing up in Calgary, watching him, playing against him in the dub, with him and Swift Curran and me in PA, and then obviously St. John's with the Ice Caps when I went up there to join him, and so on in our pro careers. I mean, just so happy for him, his family. I think the biggest thing that just came to mind was, he's earned everything he's gotten. Nothing was handed to him, and he's done it the right way every single day, all through that period of time. So, for him to get that contract, you're just absolutely excited for him. He's earned it. He deserves it. And obviously for our group to have our captain here and the guy that leads our team day in, day out, it's huge. It's huge for the team. It's huge for the city. And, it's going to be great to see him, be a Jet here for a very long time.
Going back to the runway moment that you guys had, I like how Scheif and JMO are in the background talking. They're behind Adam when you're talking to them, and they have these big smiles in their face. That's the other part, right? You can tell that's the family part. They've been around each other for so long, and it's just so cool to see Josh so happy about this core being together.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Lowry is as great as everybody is, and as talented as everybody is. He is the heart and soul of this team. And I think that when you talk about the culture, I mean, he's such a driver.
He's the driver.
He is the driver. He's the one that's helped establish it as well. And they feed off of him. So great. He does so much work within the community. Such a great
marrying a Winnipeg girl.
Yeah. Such a great guy. So great to be able to see the captain locked up long-term, loved it and thought it was a unique way to do it. It was announced, it was announced at the gala. And so got the heads up that it was, it was close. Hopefully it was going to be able to get done. And then we were able to announce it. And those that were in attendance were, a big round of applause when the video played. And then Mark Chipman announced that it was 5 years. There was even more, there were some gasps and some applause as well for it. Everyone very happy. So it was a unique way and moment to be able to announce the extension.
Right. And another thing too, like Lowry talked about in his availability was he said I have to go off the ice on Wednesday. Gallows Thursday, right? Wednesday. They had practice Wednesday. Got off the ice and Chevy said to him, "You better talk to your agent." Like because he says how infrequently he does talk to his agent.
He told us that he hadn't talked to his agent since sometime in October. Yeah, later in October, which I found interesting as well.
So obviously he's not worried about.
Well, as we heard, he wasn't because there was only one spot that he wanted to do. So there's so many players that Kevin Cheveldayoff has been able to resign. I mean, unfortunately, one of the ones that he was not able to is making his debut at Canada Life Center with an opposing team tonight, and that is Nikolaj Ehlers with the Carolina Hurricanes here in town.
Yeah, like that whole conversation about the core. Nikolaj Ehlers was part of that core.
Yeah.
And like I was looking at Hockey Reference today. I'm like, holy crap, 11 years. That was by fast. Like I've been here 7. and he was there 4 before that. That's, to me, crazy to think about. So he was a big part of that core, but the opportunity to be closer to his brother who lives in Florida, to his nephews also out there as well, maybe the opportunity to, just another place, a fresh start in some ways.
And I think that, people originally not, mixed emotions as to when he goes, but I think that you can love a place and still feel as if you want to see what else is out there or experience change. And so he had a 6-year, $51 million contract with it. Took him a little bit to settle in, as we've seen here in Winnipeg, when new players get integrated into the lineup, especially after being somewhere else for so long, can take a little bit for them to find their footing. But he has found it. He has found it now, and he's been a key reason why the Carolina Hurricanes have been able to have the November that they've had. There was a great comment. Now, I wasn't able to make it over to his availability here, because you remember he did not have a final media availability at end of season here. So nobody's seen him since the playoffs last year when they were still going on. But Danielle Bain, TSN's reporter here in Winnipeg, tweeted out, as Nikolaj Ehlers prepares to face his former team for the first time tonight, he says Neil Pionk texted him a few days ago asking if he was interested in having his first fight against his former team.
So that, there's another comment. So Neil said 2 days ago, he's like, I sat beside Nick on the plane for 5 years. I know how to get in his head. So there's all that. And also on top of that, so of course, whenever players come back to town, they go to dinner with their former teammates. Here's Adam Lowry on who footed the bill between him and Nikolaj Ehlers.
Adam, you both got new deals. Who picked up the bill last night?
I did. Nicky's a little cheap. No, I'm kidding. I did. I'm sure he'll buy his dinner in Carolina.
Host, right?
Yeah, we're hosting him. So, I did.
All right. So before I bring in our next guest, this is my favorite thing to do now. I like texting people before they come on the show.
Yeah.
So I said, Mike, you'll be able to come on our show tomorrow at 12:40 or 12:50. You know who we want to talk about. And Mike's answer was, Joel Nystrom is playing great. So with that in mind, here's the star of the show. It is Mike Maniscalco, the man who calls the games for the Carolina Hurricanes. Man, listen, that was a great answer. So even more reason why we brought you on the show today. You guys came in, you played in Minnesota on Wednesday, flew in that night, but a day off yesterday. Was that planned to have that day off so Nick could have some time to get ready to face the media and, of course, the Jets fans on Friday night?
Yeah, it was a planned day off for the team. Also, it allows Seth Jarvis, the good Winnipeg, Manitoba boy, a chance to go home and hang out with his family. So, it was a scheduled off day. There was no chicanery going on with the Canes trying to keep Nikolaj away from that dreaded Winnipeg media that we all know about. And
we are nasty.
Jamie specifically.
The claws come out every time we come here to Winnipeg. It's one of those things. But you learn to deal with it. You get tougher skin.
You know what? It's your ability to persevere in the face of this great adversity that we all appreciate and admire. Give us an idea of how things have gone with Nikolaj since the move to Carolina.
You guys had him for 10 years, so he's an outstanding person. That's the one thing that we've all picked up on here in Carolina and in Raleigh. Like, he's just a really good guy. He's easy to talk to. The fact that there's another Dane on the team in Frederik Andersen, he's got somebody who he can speak his native language to when he wants to. And he's actually made Freddie Andersen smile, so that's a big plus. But it was, I think, at the start of the year, we always get obsessed with the numbers, right, and the stats. And he goes a couple of games and he has zeros for the goal scoring category, 0 in the assists, but he was creating plays that led to goals, but he just wasn't getting the points for it. And the chemistry, as he started with Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis, was just a little bit off. It wasn't where they wanted it to be. So he moves down to a line with Logan Stankoven and Jackson Blake. And Jackson Blake is having a phenomenal year. And a big part of that is since the addition of Nikolaj Ehlers as his line mate. So, and Ehlers has found a home. He brings something to Carolina that they needed, which is a guy who is a one-man zone entry. He can carry the puck. You guys saw it for a decade here, what he can do. And then he starts the points. He gets a power play goal in Madison Square Garden. Basically, he scores in the exact spot where he scored his first goal with the Winnipeg Jets. He scores his first goal for the Carolina Hurricanes, and he has been on, in the Vegas parlance, a heater ever since. So he is fitting quite well with this team. It took maybe a couple of weeks to get everything sorted out. You're in a place for 10 years, and it's not easy to go someplace new. But he is fit in pretty. I won't say seamlessly, but he's fit in pretty well with his team.
Mike, we've all been around this league for a long time. We've been in buildings where there's the return video and the fans' applause. Do you think Nick is emotionally prepared for what's going to happen tonight? Because he's a pretty emotional guy.
No, I don't think, especially for somebody who's been in a place where they drafted him and brought him up, and this was the only place that he's known. I don't think that you're ever ready for those emotions. I really don't. I mean, we've seen it with a few Hurricanes players through the years who have moved on and come back, and they'll tell you, I thought I was ready and I'm not. And Rod Brindamore talked about it, just got done talking to the gathered media, and he says, you think that you can be ready for this, but you're not. This isn't just another game. You're playing against your good friends, your buddies, your teammates, guys that you went into the battle with for a decade trying to, win the cup, and, all of those scars. Now you got to go and you got to beat these guys. And that's what becomes tough. And I know the Winnipeg crowd, I am 99% sure, and you guys know this, they're going to give him a great ovation.
Yeah.
I don't, you would know better than I, but I mean, I think the terms where you only get to be like a free agent like this once in the league now. So you can't blame guys when they have the chance to, cash in the golden ticket. So I think that it'll be a warm reception. And honestly, I think that makes it worse for the guys when they get, the standing ovation, and, the fans are, excited to see them back, even though it's a different uniform. But I think it'll be emotional. I think it's actually good that it's kind of in this first half of the season, in the first 21 games for the Carolina Hurricanes, that he gets this one out of the way.
How has Rod been using Ehlers?
He's given him the green light, and you can make the case that the Canes' most effective line the last 9 games has been his line with Logan Stankoven and Jackson Blake. He's on the #1 power play, so he's giving him the rope that you would give a guy who you bring in free agency, who you want to be a dynamic offensive force.
Mike, when you look at everything Carolina has done over the years, great regular seasons, they've been to the Eastern Conference Final, it seems like every year. How is the fan base with the expectations with this year? Like, are they remaining patient? Because I watch this team; they're fun to watch. They're a great team to watch. They're hard to play against. So, how's the fan base about this right now?
13-5-2, and they came off of a game where they came back from down 2 goals in Minnesota in a game that I think started at 1 a.m. On the East Coast. At least it felt like it. It was, puck drop was 8:55 Central Time. So you deal with that the best you can, and they got a point, and the fans, I could hear them lighting the torches and trying to find the pitchforks for why didn't you get a win, and that's a good thing, by the way, because there were years of apathy, and there's nothing worse in a fan base than apathy, but now it's the fact that this team is good and they're expected to win. When they don't, there's angst, and it's fine. But I keep telling everybody, no matter what happens, 1 through 82 for this Hurricanes team this year, and I think the Jets are in the same boat now.
Yes,
the fans will get upset over losses, right? When you're supposed to. Losses, what's wrong? Fix it right away. Trade everybody, or make this improvement. But nobody's going to remember if the Jets win the Central or if the Canes win the Metro Division. They're only going to remember what happens in the playoffs with these teams. That's where the Canes are right now. So no matter what happens 1 through 82, unless disaster strikes and they miss the playoffs, this team is going to be judged on what they do when we get to April, May, and June.
Just before we let you go, I mean, you mentioned obviously one of the other stars on the Hurricanes is a Winnipegger as well, so Jarvis. So just very quickly, for those, in case they haven't been following along enough with the Canes, just what type of start has Seth had?
But what's wrong with you? Why aren't you guys you got a native son on our team?
Look, I can barely get Jamie to concentrate on what I need him to do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I know that you guys got the prodigal son, Jonathan Taves, back to Winnipeg. Boy, you finally got him out of Chicago. And by the way, still playing great. I'm so happy for that story. Which is still, for me, I think it should be further on the NHL radar than what we've got. But Seth Jarvis is, for me, I am so lucky that Seth is in Carolina. In fact, he and I just walked back from the rink to the hotel. And, we're talking about, I'm from Buffalo, so we're going there next. And we're talking about, spending time with family and things like that. And then, I told him, I go, get ready when you get older, you're going to get excited to do laundry because we're going to be home after the Buffalo game. We're going to be home for 2 weeks. So, I'm very, very excited about that. But he's got such a great sense of humor, but he is such a good player. I think that his sense of humor and his attitude, like when people see it, like he's, just a joyful guy and, kind of rolls with the punches, but man, is he a competitor when it comes time to drop the puck. He is one of those guys who will do whatever it takes to beat the other team. And that's why, last year when he was selected for the Four Nations for Team Canada, I know that there's a lot of, and you guys had a lot of, hey, shouldn't our guy for the Jets be there?
Right.
Seth Jarvis can play on the power play. He's one of the best penalty killers when it comes to getting offense from defense when you're on the PK. He's got 10 goals that paces the Canes. I think he's going to be a 40-goal scorer this year because he has that talent. And he is the guy that you have to have in the locker room because he knows how to keep the locker room loose. You love having him there. And he's just one of these players. He's a special, special talent. And the fact that the Canes got him at the pick they got him, and he's turned into the player that he's turned into, and he and Sebastian Aho have a really good chemistry going right now on the top pairing for the Carolina Hurricanes. He wants me to give him some good mojo, so I'm going to pump his tires right now. One, if Jim Nill and Team Canada are still listening, you better keep him on that roster when you guys go to Italy, because he will score a big goal. I'm an American, so I won't say against the United States, but he is just a player who, when it comes down to winning time, you want him on the ice. And I think that, I think he gets one tonight. I know he's a little nervous when he comes back here and plays in front of, the well-documented van of his friends who, did the 3,000-mile, 48-hour straight drive to watch him in the playoffs. But, this is a special place for him, and he's a special player. And Carolina is really fortunate to have him. And I hope that tonight you guys get to see why.
Mike, I was actually standing right there when Seth took the photo with all his buddies after the championship game against Canada in Boston. It was a pretty cool moment to see. The fact that those guys drove all that way is so amazing. And you are one of the luckiest men in the world to have a Seth Jarvis and a Nikolaj Ehlers on the same roster, man. That's really cool.
Look, I can run down and people want to know, why have the Carolina Hurricanes gone from a team that, missed the playoffs 9 straight years to now they're in line to make it for 8 consecutive years. Well, one, it starts with Rod Brindamore and the culture change at the top and the coaching, but it's the guys in that locker room. And I can keep going down the list. You bring in one, Sebastian Aho is just a good person. The captain, Jordan Stahl, is a great human being. Jordan Martinook, again, we've all seen the Mr. Svechnikov screams and all of that, but the guy you got to have will leave it all out there on the ice to win a game. That's the culture that the Canes have built, and I truly am one of the luckiest play-by-play guys in the league to be around this team every single day.
We're lucky to have you on as well, my friend. Enjoy the game tonight. Keep the tears in check when the video comes up, and we'll try and do the same. Thanks so much for joining us, buddy.
I'm pretty emotional. I mean, I was waiting for an 80s or 90s TV reference. I was waiting for one of you to drop. This would be a very special episode of Blossom tonight. We'll figure out what's going on. But
the great news, Mike, is that next week the Jets are back against Carolina. So we could reconvene because hopefully there will not be as much news next week as there is this week.
We can play the 80s and 90s game.
Just play 80s and 90s game all show long.
Yeah.
Buddy. I am here for it.
Yeah.
I will make myself available for you guys for that next week.
Thank
Book
you.
it. Thanks, Mike.
Anytime. Thank you, guys.
See ya. It's Mike Maniscalco from his hotel room.
Yes, very quickly as we wrap up. Ehlers. So we didn't have the chance to run over and hear, but I have seen that Connor Rabchuk with Winnipeg Sports Talk posted Ehlers' retort to Lowry. He's got some funny comments. Sometimes he just signed a deal, so it's about time he got off his wallet. So you want to check out that video as well, and CJ will be in there. There will undoubtedly be a lot of audio from Nikolaj Ehlers on the pregame show as well, and he will be joining Kevin Sawyer on TSN pregame show, which gets going at 6:30.
Mike is a fan favorite. Like we talk about Seth Jarvis and Nick Ehlers. This is the third time we've had Mike on. He's a fan favorite.
He is fantastic. We are running over those.
Yep.
So one quick thing that we want to put up, because we have not talked about the lines.
Yes.
For today, this is what your projected lines are. Eric Comrie getting the start. Of course, the one change would be on that fourth line. So Tanner Pearson draws out. Scott Arniel wanting to get Cole Koepke in because he's been healthy.
I really liked Gus Nyquist's game the other night too. So this is.
And he adds and Koepke adds a little bit of speed. This is a Carolina team that is very, very fast. The Jets will try to take advantage maybe of some of their transition if they can hop on it. But this is one where speed is certainly going to be a factor in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. These games are always a lot of fun to watch. And we get to see the Hurricanes again next Friday as well. So thank you so much. The not good news is Connor Hellebuyck's out 4 to 6 weeks. The good news is you got Eric Comrie and Thomas Millers to man the nets. And the even better news is it looks like the Jets are trending in the right direction in terms of their defensive game. So
we have so much to talk about on Sunday when they wrap up this homestand against the Minnesota Wild. That one is an afternoon game. We are looking forward to that, though.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Have a great day. Thanks so much for checking in.